Next time you're at a sports bar and 16 different TVs switch to 16 different games at the exact same time, well, don't look at the screens. Look for the tiny, silent 1.5-inch black box hiding in the back room.
Yeah, because today we're doing a deep dive into the invisible nervous system of commercial AV.
Right. Our mission is to decode how complex spaces manage just massive amounts of audio and visual data so seamlessly. And we're using specs from two really fascinating pieces of hardware to do it: the QSC SPA QF 60x4 network amplifier and the Wolfpack fixed HDMI matrix switchers.
Two very cool pieces of gear.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because, if you just look at the TVs and listen to the speakers, you completely miss the incredible engineering making the magic show happen.
Yeah. You really do. And to understand that engineering, you have to start with the audio heartbeat of a room, which brings us to that QSC SPA QF 60x4.
Right, the audio brain.
Yeah. It's a 4-channel amplifier delivering 60 watts per channel, or you can actually bridge it for 120 watts. But what stands out right away is its size. It fits into a half-rack 1RU space,
which is standard IT speak for just 1.75 inches of rack height. It's tiny.
Exactly. It's incredibly small.
And it's also convection cooled, right? Meaning it runs continuously without any internal fans.
Yeah, which is a huge deal for high-end corporate boardrooms. You really can't have a rack of gear sounding like a jet engine in the background while you're trying to have a meeting.
Right. Nobody wants that. Plus, it packs these two Flex I/O channels.
Right. The software-definable ports. They can act as either mic and line inputs or line outputs, depending on what you actually need.
But wait, I have to challenge the premise here for a second. I'm looking at this $1,875 price tag for a 60-watt amp.
Yeah, it is definitely not cheap.
That feels incredibly steep when you can buy a consumer amp with way more power for a fraction of the cost. What is this actually doing to justify that enterprise markup?
Well, what's fascinating here is the whole concept of right-sized amplification. You aren't paying for raw stadium-blowing power. You're paying for a smart network endpoint.
Okay, so it's more about the brains than the brawn.
Exactly. This amp operates natively on the Q-SYS platform, which is basically the software brain of the room. It has these bi-directional GPIO pins.
General purpose input-output. Right?
You got it. In plain English, that means the amp can translate physical world actions into network data. It can power microphone LEDs, read room sensors, or take an input from a physical volume knob on the wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it bridges those local physical interactions directly into the main digital network.
So the QSC amp is essentially tricking out the local audio by turning physical buttons into network data. But audio is really only half the battle here.
Oh, for sure.
If this network is going to handle the visual side, like beaming 16 different 4K games simultaneously, it really needs a traffic cop.
Enter the Wolfpack fixed HDMI matrix switchers. And we should clarify, unlike a standard consumer splitter, this is true matrix routing.
Which means it routes any input to any output completely independently with zero latency.
Right. A splitter just takes one signal and copies it to a bunch of screens.
See, here's where it gets really interesting. A standard setup basically just shouts one message to everyone. But a matrix switcher is like a room full of bilingual telephone operators.
That's a great way to put it.
It can take any single incoming call and route it to any specific person independently, all at the exact same time. And the scale of these Wolfpack units is massive.
Yeah, they go from small 4x2 setups all the way up to 16x32 systems. And they can send 4K video signals 450 feet over standard KT6 cables.
Which is wild because normally an HDMI cable degrades after, what, about 50 feet?
Yeah, usually right around there. But this switcher encodes that massive 4K data so it can travel down a cheap KT6 Ethernet cable for hundreds of feet without dropping a single pixel.
But wait, that massive scale creates a serious user interface problem, doesn't it? When you have 16 sources and 32 screens, how does a bartender actually control all of this routing?
Right, during a really busy Friday night shift.
Yeah, without needing an IT degree, you definitely can't have them writing code just to put the local game on screen 4.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it all comes down to adaptable control systems. The technology basically scales to the user's technical comfort level.
So how simple can it get?
A bartender can literally just walk up and push physical front panel buttons on the unit, or just use a standard IR remote.
Okay, but what about for the complex, automated corporate setup?
Oh, it handles that too. The switchers offer RS-232 and TCP/IP control. Basically, they can talk directly to high-end third-party integration systems like Crestron or Control4 over the IT network.
Right, and because they sit on that network, you get free web GUIs and tablet apps.
Exactly. You can essentially drag and drop the entire visual layout of a sports bar right from an iPad while pouring a drink.
That is just so cool. So what does this all mean? Well, for you listening, the takeaway is that the effortless experience you get in a sports bar is actually a masterclass in hidden routing.
Yeah, it really
You
is.
get this quiet, fanless amp handling the local audio sensors and a massive matrix switcher encoding 4K video over Ethernet cables.
And, the source material mentions these particular fixed switchers are perfect when your input and output counts won't change.
Right, fixed ports.
Yeah, but considering the enterprise alternative is a modular setup with swappable hardware cards, it really makes you wonder something.
What's that?
How quickly will physical hardware ports eventually become obsolete entirely as everything shifts toward purely digital, software-defined AV over a network?
Oh, wow, yeah. That definitely changes how you look at the magic show. The real
Yeah.
trick isn't the hardware we can see,
Yeah.
but the invisible network connecting it all.